Hey guys, welcome to the shop. Today we're looking at my post-apocalyptic AK build. Now, mostly in this shop, I work on custom bolt actions. I'm starting to really break into the over-under and lever action markets, but historically, I've really been a custom bolt gun guy. That is a personal area of interest and, dare I say, expertise. However, I really actually started my business on a lot of AK parts kit builds. And I got out of that market because, frankly, it got to the point where I really just couldn't make any money on them. It was getting really frustrating, and I decided that I'd like to step back from that and focus on stuff that was more profitable, which is, frankly, bolt guns. But there's been a resurgence recently in sort of a renewed passion, at least among my customers, of AK parts kit builds. So I wanted to talk about I basically just got given a blank slate by a customer on what to do for him, so that's what we're doing, and I'm building a very much identical rifle for myself. Now, I'm super excited about this. This has actually started life as a Yugoslav parts kit, M64. Now, I'm saving a lot of the Yugo specific parts. Now, Yugo top covers you can find. I'm going to use a Yugo top cover on this gun just because I don't want to go buy another one. I'm using the bolt and carrier, I'm using the rear sight base, and I'm using the handguard retainer. Now, and I'm using the gas tube against the lower handguard. Now, I'm building it as a milled side folder. I've ordered a Tortort receiver that should be here in a few days. And I think it's probably a good time to talk about some of the Yugo receiver differences between them and the standard AK pattern. Now, there really aren't a whole hell of a lot in terms of function once you get outside of the dust cover lock. Now, they were unique in that they used a selector stop plate on their milled receivers, which isn't necessarily universal on them, at least for the M70 series. On the earlier guns with the two tangs and the very early milled underfolders, they used a selector stop pin in the receiver like the standard AKs. I kind of like the stop plates a little bit better. They're easier to locate than the pins, but that's just personal preference. I don't have the warm and fuzzies for the pins, but I understand they're correct on these guns, and the Tortort receiver I've ordered is a selector stop pin receiver. I don't really have a lot of choice in that because they're the only people making a milled underfolder. Now, I did decide on this just to take some weight off the front end because I'm not launching rifle grenades with it. I wanted to use a combo front sight gas block. Now, I actually welded this up, and I'm leaving it a little bit rough just because I think it really meshes with the post-apocalyptic vibe I'm going for. And that is a WBP combo gas block. They're like $60, and this was a bent to shit Yugo sling swivel base or sling base that I was like, screw it, I'm going to cut it up and I'm going to weld it to the gas block. Now, I had thought about just running a sling around it here, but I think this is cooler, and it really, again, it meshes with the whole vibe I'm going for, where I want this to look rusty and crusty even from the get-go, which is why this is getting a used Holosun 403 instead of a brand new one. And we're going for a lot of used parts on it. I'm going to rust, force patina it. I'm going to use my rust blowing solution, then I'll just chemically stop it. So it's going to have surface rust on it. It's going to be a really cool gun. And we're also going to run an AKM gas piston on this gun. Now, that is just because I ordered a K&S piston. Where'd it go? Here we are. So these are about 1 millimeter shorter than the AK or the Yugoslav pistons, which is frankly not a big deal at all. These guns are super gassy, so all that's going to wind up happening is I just don't need to open the K&S piston up quite so much. When I do this on the Yugo guns, usually like 6 to 10 clicks open. I have them gassed where I want them. On a lot of the AKM guns where I use the same piston, we're looking at like 16 to 20 clicks open to get them really gassed where I want them. And I wouldn't consider these undergassed. I'm still launching cases about 6 or 10 feet. Usually like 8 to 10 is where I want them, because I found if I'm launching them at the 6 foot mark, they're more pleasant to shoot. But after a couple hundred rounds, you start to get failures to cycle. And I want to be able to go 500-600 rounds on these in a range trip without worrying about it, and leave a little bit of headroom for oomph when they're cycling. So I'm super excited about this. I think it's going to be a really, really interesting build, and I wanted to sort of soft launch it with this video before the receiver gets here. Because it's also a little bit inspired by, if anyone has looked them up, the Yugoslav M64 prototypes, where they also used a combination gas block rear sight base or front sight base. And just to give everyone an idea of this profile, I don't have a receiver yet, but I think you guys have imagination. Oh, I should probably put the rear sight on. So we're gonna go with a, oh, I left the pin in this. This is actually my trick. When you have demilled parts kits, leave the pin in. So we're not gonna do it on video. You guys are just gonna have to wait till the next one. I leave the pins in because they're easy to lose. It's happened to me a few times, and it pisses me the hell off when I have to go order brand new ones. And it does happen, guys. Like, it's just all part of the game with these. So the plan right now is this is just sitting on the back burner. I had a slow day in the shop, so I turned the barrel down, which it's going to look slick as hell when I'm done. It's also going to be a fairly light Yugo gun, all things considered, because we've took a bunch of weight off the front ends. I'll just show you how chunky the gas block is. This gas block is noticeably heavier in the hand than this is. Just in no small part because it's actually thicker, it's beefier, they're really overbuilt. I like the Yugoslav guns a lot. I think they're cool as hell. I have a milled M70 in my personal collection that I'm really fond of, but I wanted to go in a much more, frankly, fun direction on this instead of going with clone correct, which is something I often do in this shop, is clone correct, you know, let's go as far as we can with workmanship. I wanted to go really the other direction, and let's go have a ton of fun with this, and let's build something for the vibes instead of something for the pure utility, the pure, you know, clone correctness. So I'm not worried about scratching it. You know, I might blast this. I'm probably just going to force rust it and then stabilize it with oil and just not worry about it, because I can always boil it in water and convert that rust to blooming later down the line and rust bloom my gun if I feel like it. But I'm frankly just not super motivated to do that. I just want something that's cool to go shoot garbage with in a trash pit, really. I mean, that's what the local shooting ranges are. They're just old gravel pits. And we're going to have some small quality of life things, like I have a WBP extended mag release on this. That's off a gun that got demilled because that gun was in really scarily badly built. I don't get a lot of that stuff anymore, but I do get some scary repairs I'll talk about in another video. But super excited about this. I think it's going to be definitely like a vibe, and very heavily inspired by that Yugoslav M64 prototypes I've seen some pictures of, because I think it's cool as hell, and in my head I think this is what the Yugos should have built. So what would Zastava do if I think they were a little bit more practical, because I think rifle grenades, they're not super critical. I don't think every single gun in your platoon needs to be able to launch them. It's nice to have them, but I think that I don't see that they were as widely issued, and I don't see a ton of use of them when I was studying the Yugoslav War, and some of the memoirs I've read don't really heavily mention them being used in combat. And I think really dedicated grenade launchers and anti-tank weapons are the way to go. But again, I'm a gunsmith. I'm not a military historian, so, you know, I could be wrong. But I think this is what they should have built, which is a side-folding receiver instead of an underfolder, because your side-folding receiver is just as good as a regular stock, in a lot of ways arguably better, and you get the advantages of the underfolder. But you also have something that's easier to shoot with the stock folded, and moving away from the rifle grenade system. The only thing I'm not doing is I'm not having a top cover mounted rear sight like the original M64 prototypes would have, because there's not really a good solution to those that's on the market right now, unless I want to go and make my own, but I'm just not that motivated to do something of that kind. I'm really, you know, frankly, I think turning a barrel down, welding up a custom front sight base combo, that's the limit of how crazy I'm going to get with custom machining for this gun. I might wind up doing some more stuff. I might actually put the dust cover lock on because I think they're cool as hell. I think they're a unique Yugo feature. And it's going to be another subtle note of this is a really, really custom AK. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. It's going to be cool as hell, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it, or at least I will. And I'll try to do some build along, or at least talk about some of the steps you run into, and definitely the difficulties in doing a much more out of the norm parts kit build like this.